The blade slid through the cake with the precision of a surgeon. No clapping, no laughter, no family gathered around, just silence, thick and suffocating, pressing against the walls of the small room like shrink wrap. My phone vibrated on the table. Once, twice, then non-stop until the screen became a strobe of frantic light. 52 missed calls. 1 new message. Call me. Urgent. From her. My wife. I didn't answer. Instead, I stared at the shaky lettering smeared across the frosting. Happy birthday. A cake bought for one. Shared by no one. My thoughts wandered to the sound of her laugh, ringing across my brother's backyard 2 weeks earlier. The scent of grilled meat mixing with her perfume. I could still see my daughter perched on his shoulders, clinging to him like he was the hero of the day, while I sat invisible. Forgotten. My birthday, deliberately overshadowed by a party scheduled exactly 2 weeks later. Announced loud and public. Same date. I looked at the cake, then at my buzzing phone, then back at the knife in my hand. And I smiled. 2 weeks earlier, I'd sent out my invitations first. Every relative replied politely, mechanically, acknowledging me but without warmth. Then my brother announced his barbecue. Big, loud, and inclusive. Inviting everyone. Even her. Especially her. From that moment, everything changed. My texts went unanswered. Confirmations dried up. One by one, every single person defected, until I was left the only man standing in a room full of broken promises. She said nothing. Not a single word about any conflict of interest. The morning of my birthday, she left with our daughter. Just a quick visit, she said. We'll be home before the cake. But the cake stayed untouched. The candles unlit. And as I sliced it alone, her silence turned into urgency. Missed calls stacked up. Messages escalated into pleading. A tone I knew too well. Panic that only meant one thing. The truth was bleeding through the cracks. I didn't pick up. I never do when desperation is involved. Instead, I got to work. Quiet. Careful. That morning, she'd left her laptop unlocked. A small act of recklessness disguised as trust. Her email. Her cloud storage. Her photos. Every thread wove into a tapestry she thought she had hidden. I followed the trail. Barbecue planning messages. Plenty. Not just with my brother. With him. His name appeared over and over. Shared jokes. Coordinating plans. Casual pictures. None of it directly damning, but context shouts louder than proof. Her hand grazing his shoulder. The way his head tilted toward her. His smile too intimate to dismiss. I didn't confront her. Not yet. I kept collecting. Receipts. Hotel bookings under her maiden name. Nights that aligned perfectly with her conferences. Locations that matched his business trips to the mile. I ordered a DNA kit for my daughter. Quiet. Precise. Swab sealed, sent without emotion. Days passed. I played the doting husband, smiled where expected, nodded when spoken to. She looked at me sometimes with a flicker of suspicion, but she always let it go. She's always mistaken my silence for softness. For passivity. She never understood. I was simply waiting. The storm arrived 3 days later. A harmless-looking envelope. Light. Thin. But heavy enough to crush everything. I opened it alone in my study. Probability of paternity. 0.000%. The words were surgical. Cold. Final. Merciless. Not mine. Never mine. I folded the report neatly, slid it back into the envelope, and placed it on the kitchen table where she'd see it first. That evening, she came home smelling faintly of smoke and grilled meat. My brother's barbecue clung to her clothes like damning perfume. Her eyes landed on the envelope. She froze. I watched silently from the living room as she tore it open. Her breath hitched. Her shoulders locked. A tremor spread through her fingers. Where did you get this? Her voice cracked. I stayed silent. Her wide, frantic eyes searched mine, already scrambling for excuses. Explanations rehearsed but doomed to collapse under their own weight. It doesn't mean what you think, she stammered, tears welling. But I already knew. I stood slowly, deliberately. Walked toward her. Placed my phone on the table next to the report. The screen glowed, 52 missed calls. All from her. Her last text still there. Call me. Urgent. Finally, I looked at her. Come. Steady. You should have called him, I said. Her face crumbled. A silence heavier than any scream settled between us. She covered her mouth, but the tears spilled through her fingers. I didn't move to comfort her. Instead, I picked up the cake knife, wiped it clean, and laid it on the table between us. A quiet reminder of what had been cut, and what never would be whole again. Her sobs broke into pleading. Please. Words like forgive. Explain. Clawing at the air, desperate for a foothold. But my silence cut deeper than any blade. I left her there, shaking and broken, a woman cornered by the truth she thought I'd never uncover. Upstairs, my daughter, his daughter, slept, blissfully unaware. I stepped outside. The night air kissed my skin, cool and sharp. Somewhere down the street, faint laughter floated from my brother's house. The celebration of betrayal. The victory parade of deception. But I didn't care anymore. I had seen all I needed to see. And I had already won, without raising a hand. They could choke on their barbecue. She could drown in her guilt. And me? I walked away from the house of lies, stripped of everything, yet freer than I'd ever been. For the first time, the silence didn't suffocate. It liberated. Final thought, I never called her back. I never will.